Good morning, everyone. Dr. James Whittaker here, and today I'm going to share something that might sound too good to be true, but I promise you it's backed by solid science. I'm going to show you a specific breakfast formula that can actually start reversing sarcopenia, that's age-related muscle loss, and noticeably improve your leg strength within 24 hours. Now, before you dismiss this as clickbait or think I'm exaggerating, let me be very clear about what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. I'm not claiming that one breakfast will permanently solve muscle loss or transform you into a bodybuilder overnight. What I am telling you, based on clinical research and years of experience with patients, is that the right breakfast consumed consistently can trigger metabolic and physiological changes that begin working within hours. And when you eat this way day after day, the cumulative effects are absolutely remarkable. I've seen patients in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s regain strength, mobility, and independence they thought was gone forever, simply by changing how they start their day. Before we dive into the specifics of this breakfast and exactly why it works, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm a board-certified physician who spent over 2 decades helping patients optimize their health, and I create these videos to give you practical, science-based information that can actually change your life. If you find value in what we discussed today, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this might be one of the most important videos you ever watch. Now, let me start by making sure we all understand what sarcopenia is and why it's such a critical issue, particularly for people over 60. Sarcopenia is the medical term for progressive loss of muscle mass, muscle strength, and muscle function that occurs with aging. It's not just about aesthetics or looking fit. Sarcopenia is a serious medical condition that dramatically increases your risk of falls, fractures, disability, loss of independence, metabolic disease including diabetes, and even early death. The statistics are sobering. After age 30, adults lose about 3 to 8% of their muscle mass per decade, and this rate accelerates after 60. By age 70, many people have lost 25 to 30% of their muscle mass compared to their peak. This loss primarily affects the legs, which is why so many seniors struggle with stairs, getting up from chairs, and maintaining balance. But here's what gives me hope and why I'm so passionate about this topic. Sarcopenia is not inevitable. It's not an unavoidable consequence of aging that you just have to accept. It's a condition driven by specific physiological factors that we can address. And one of the most powerful interventions is how and what you eat, particularly your first meal of the day. Let me know in the comments below what country you're watching from and whether you've noticed declining leg strength or muscle mass as you've aged. I'm always interested to see our global community, and your engagement helps this life-changing information reach more people who desperately need it. Now, before I reveal the exact breakfast formula, I need to explain the science of why breakfast matters so profoundly for muscle health. Because understanding the mechanisms will help you appreciate why this isn't just another diet trend. It's a targeted therapeutic intervention. Your body's muscle protein synthesis, that's the process of building and maintaining muscle, is heavily influenced by what you eat and when you eat it. Research has consistently shown that muscle protein synthesis is maximally stimulated by consuming adequate protein in a single meal, particularly early in the day. There's a threshold effect here. You need approximately 25 to 40 grams of high-quality protein in a single meal to maximally trigger muscle protein synthesis. And this response is even more important in older adults because of a phenomenon called anabolic resistance. As we age, our muscles become less responsive to the anabolic or muscle building signals from protein and exercise. This means older adults need more protein per meal than younger people to achieve the same muscle building response. Most research suggests that people over 60 need 30 to 40 grams of high-quality protein per meal to optimally stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Here's where breakfast becomes critical. Studies show that the timing of protein intake throughout the day matters. Consuming a protein-rich breakfast triggers muscle protein synthesis early in the day, setting up favorable metabolic conditions that persist for hours. Conversely, skipping breakfast or eating a carbohydrate-heavy, protein-poor breakfast means you're missing a crucial opportunity to stimulate muscle maintenance and growth. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who consumed most of their protein at breakfast and lunch rather than concentrating it at dinner, had significantly greater muscle mass and strength. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that distributing protein evenly across meals, starting with a protein-rich breakfast, resulted in 25% greater muscle protein synthesis over 24 hours compared to eating the same total protein but skipping breakfast or eating a low-protein breakfast. Beyond just protein quantity, the type of protein matters enormously. Your muscles require all 9 essential amino acids to build new muscle protein, and one amino acid in particular, leucine, acts as a trigger that signals your body to begin the muscle building process. High-quality complete proteins like eggs, dairy, and meat contain all essential amino acids in optimal ratios and are particularly rich in leucine. This is why I'm going to emphasize specific protein sources in the breakfast formula I'm about to share. Now let me tell you about a patient who perfectly illustrates the power of this approach. Harold was 74 years old when he came to see me, deeply frustrated and honestly a bit scared. Over the previous 3 years, he'd noticed progressive weakness in his legs. He struggled to get up from his favorite low armchair. Stairs had become exhausting. His walking speed had slowed noticeably, and he'd had 2 near falls that frightened him. Harold had been to multiple doctors who all told him essentially the same thing. You're getting older. This is normal. Maybe use a cane. But Harold wasn't ready to accept decline as inevitable. When I evaluated Harold, his muscle mass was significantly below normal for his height and age. His grip strength, which correlates strongly with overall muscle strength, was in the bottom 10th percentile for men his age. His usual breakfast was toast with jam and a cup of coffee, providing maybe 5 grams of protein. His overall daily protein intake was only about 50 grams, less than half of what he needed. We made several changes, but the cornerstone was completely restructuring his breakfast to include 35 to 40 grams of high-quality protein along with other muscle-supporting nutrients. Harold was skeptical that something as simple as changing breakfast could make a real difference, but he agreed to try. Within the first week, Harold noticed he had more energy in the morning and throughout the day. By 2 weeks, he reported that getting out of chairs felt easier. At 1 month, his walking speed had measurably improved, and he was climbing stairs with much less difficulty. At 3 months, Harold had regained significant leg strength and muscle mass. His grip strength improved by 30%. He was back to all his normal activities, including working in his garden and taking his grandkids to the park. Harold told me this breakfast change, combined with twice-weekly resistance training that I'll discuss shortly, gave him his life back. That's not an exaggeration. That's what proper nutrition can do. Now let me give you the exact breakfast formula that works. This isn't complicated, and you don't need exotic ingredients or expensive supplements. You need 3 core components that work synergistically to combat sarcopenia and build strength. Component number 1, 35 to 40 grams of high-quality complete protein with an emphasis on leucine-rich sources. This is non-negotiable. You cannot build or maintain muscle without adequate protein, and you cannot maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis without hitting this threshold at breakfast. Here are your best options, and I'll give you specific amounts needed to reach 35 to 40 grams. 3 whole eggs plus 3 egg whites. This gives you approximately 35 grams of protein and is my top recommendation because eggs are the gold standard for protein quality. They're rich in leucine. They contain other muscle-supporting nutrients, including vitamin D and choline, and they're affordable and easy to prepare. 1 cup of full-fat Greek yogurt, which provides about 20 grams of protein, plus 1 scoop of high-quality whey protein, powder providing another 20 grams. This combination gives you 40 grams of protein and is excellent because Greek yogurt is rich in leucine and contains probiotics for gut health. Whey protein is rapidly absorbed and has the highest leucine content of any protein source. And this combination is easy and requires no cooking. 6 ounces of wild-caught salmon, providing about 40 grams of protein. This option is excellent because salmon is a complete protein rich in leucine. It's loaded with anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids that support muscle health, and it provides vitamin D, which is crucial for muscle function. However, it's more expensive and not everyone wants fish for breakfast. 1 cup of cottage cheese providing about 25 grams, plus 2 whole eggs, providing another 12 grams. This gives you 37 grams and works well because cottage cheese is rich in casein, a slow-digesting protein that provides sustained amino acid delivery. The combination of fast-digesting egg protein and slow-digesting casein provides both immediate and prolonged muscle protein synthesis, and this is very affordable. Or if you prefer a smoothie approach, 1.5 scoops of high-quality whey protein powder, providing about 30 grams, plus 1 cup of milk or kefir, providing another 8 grams, plus 2 tablespoons of almond butter, providing another 6 to 7 grams. This gives you about 45 grams total and works because it's quick and convenient, easily digestible, and you can add other beneficial ingredients like berries and greens. Choose whichever option appeals to you and fits your budget and preferences. The key is consistently hitting that 35 to 40 gram protein target every single morning. Component number 2, healthy fats to support hormone production and reduce inflammation. Your body needs dietary fat to produce hormones including testosterone and growth hormone that are critical for muscle maintenance. Healthy fats also reduce inflammation that interferes with muscle protein synthesis. Include one of these with your protein source. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil drizzled over eggs or vegetables, providing anti-inflammatory polyphenols and healthy monounsaturated fats. 1/4 of an avocado, providing monounsaturated fats and potassium, which supports muscle function. 1 ounce of nuts, about a small handful, preferably almonds or walnuts, providing healthy fats, some additional protein, and important minerals like magnesium. Or 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed or chia seeds, providing omega-3 fatty acids and fiber. The amount here is not huge. You're looking for about 10 to 15 grams of healthy fat, which is roughly 100 to 135 calories worth. This is not a high-fat meal, it's an optimally balanced meal. Component number 3, nutrient-dense carbohydrates for energy and additional micronutrients. I want to be very clear here. This is not a low-carb or ketogenic breakfast. You need some carbohydrates for energy, particularly if you're going to exercise. And the right carbohydrates provide vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that support muscle function. However, we're choosing carbohydrate sources that provide maximum nutrition with minimal blood sugar spike. Include 1 or 2 of these. 1 cup of berries, preferably blueberries or strawberries, providing antioxidants that reduce muscle inflammation and damage, fiber that moderates blood sugar response, and vitamin C, which supports collagen production. 1 cup of sautéed spinach or other leafy greens, providing magnesium and potassium for muscle function, folate, which supports cellular energy production, and negligible impact on blood sugar. 1 medium sweet potato or 1 cup of oats, providing complex carbohydrates for sustained energy, additional fiber, and important minerals. Or 1 cup of mixed vegetables, such as peppers, tomatoes, mushrooms, onions, cooked with your eggs, providing a wide array of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants with minimal calories. You're looking for roughly 25 to 40 grams of carbohydrates from these nutrient-dense sources, not from bread, pastries, juice, or sugary cereals. Those spike your blood sugar, promote inflammation, and provide virtually none of the micronutrients your muscles need. Now let me show you how to put this together into actual meals that you can prepare easily. Here are 3 complete breakfast examples that follow this formula perfectly. Breakfast option 1, veggie and egg scramble with salmon. 3 whole eggs plus 3 egg whites, scrambled with 1 cup of mixed vegetables like spinach, peppers, and mushrooms, cooked in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. This provides your 35 grams of protein plus healthy fats and nutrient-dense vegetables. On the side, 3 ounces of smoked salmon, adding another 20 grams of protein and omega-3 fats, bringing your total to 55 grams of protein, which is even better, particularly for someone significantly deficient in muscle mass, plus 1 cup of mixed berries. This meal provides approximately 55 grams of protein, 15 grams of healthy fats, 30 grams of nutrient-dense carbohydrates, totaling about 475 calories. It's nutrient-dense, satiating, and optimally balanced for muscle protein synthesis. Breakfast option 2, Greek yogurt power bowl. 1.5 cups of full-fat Greek yogurt, providing 30 grams of protein, mixed with 1 scoop of vanilla whey protein powder, adding 20 grams of protein for a total of 50 grams. Topped with 1/4 cup of mixed nuts, 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed, and 1 cup of mixed berries. This meal provides approximately 50 grams of protein, 20 grams of healthy fats, 35 grams of carbohydrates, totaling about 520 calories. It requires zero cooking and takes 3 minutes to prepare. Breakfast option 3, muscle building smoothie. 1.5 scoops of vanilla or chocolate whey protein powder, providing about 32 grams of protein. 1 cup of whole milk or kefir, providing 8 more grams of protein. 2 tablespoons of almond butter, providing 7 grams of protein plus healthy fats. 1 cup of frozen berries. 1 cup of fresh spinach. 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Blend everything together. This provides approximately 47 grams of protein, 18 grams of healthy fats, 40 grams of carbohydrates, totaling about 510 calories. It's completely portable and can be consumed on the go. Notice that all 3 options provide 35 to 55 grams of high-quality protein, adequate healthy fats, and nutrient-dense carbohydrates. They're all between 450 and 520 calories, which is substantial but appropriate for a breakfast designed to fuel muscle maintenance and growth. Now, here's why I said this breakfast can start working within 24 hours, and I need to explain this carefully because I want to be accurate, not sensational. When you consume 35 to 40 grams of high-quality protein first thing in the morning, several things happen rapidly. Within 30 minutes to 2 hours, amino acids from your protein begin entering your bloodstream and reaching your muscles. The leucine in your meal triggers mTOR, a cellular signaling pathway that initiates muscle protein synthesis. This process begins within 1 to 2 hours of eating and continues for 3 to 5 hours. So within just a few hours of eating this breakfast, your body is actively building and repairing muscle tissue. If you then engage in resistance exercise, even light resistance training, within several hours of this breakfast, you amplify the muscle protein synthesis response dramatically. The combination of adequate protein plus resistance stimulus creates a powerful anabolic environment. Research shows that muscle protein synthesis rates can increase by 50 to 100% when you combine optimal protein intake with resistance training compared to either intervention alone. Additionally, the stable blood sugar and sustained energy from this balanced breakfast mean you'll feel more capable of physical activity throughout the morning and early afternoon. Many of my patients report that after just 1 or 2 days of eating this way, they notice improved energy for exercise and daily activities. They're able to walk farther, complete more repetitions in their strength training, and generally feel more physically capable. That's not placebo effect. That's real physiological change from providing your body the nutrients it needs. Over days and weeks, the effects compound. Each day, you're providing optimal nutrition for muscle protein synthesis. Each day, you're reducing the muscle breakdown that occurs when protein intake is inadequate. Each resistance training session builds on the previous one, with your muscles properly fueled for growth and recovery. After 1 month of this approach, most people notice measurable improvements in strength and function. After 3 months, the changes can be dramatic. Harold, the patient I mentioned earlier, is far from unique. I've seen this transformation dozens of times. Now let me address the exercise component because nutrition alone, even optimal nutrition, is not sufficient to fully reverse sarcopenia. You need to provide a stimulus that tells your body it needs that muscle. That stimulus is resistance training. The good news is that you don't need hours in the gym or complicated equipment. For combating sarcopenia, particularly in the legs, you need 2 to 3 sessions per week of leg-focused resistance training. Here's a simple, effective routine you can do at home with minimal equipment. Exercise 1. Bodyweight squats or chair squats. If you can squat safely, perform 10 to 15 repetitions of controlled squats, going as deep as you can while maintaining good form. If regular squats are too challenging, perform chair squats where you sit back to lightly touch a chair, then stand back up. Perform 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. This exercise targets your quadriceps, glutes, and core, all crucial for daily function. Exercise 2. Lunges or step-ups. If you can perform lunges safely, do 10 repetitions on each leg, alternating legs. If lunges are too challenging, perform step-ups using a sturdy step or low bench, stepping up and down 10 to 15 times per leg. Perform 3 sets. This exercise targets quads, glutes, hamstrings, and improves balance. Exercise 3. Calf raises. Standing with feet shoulder-width apart, rise up on your toes. Hold for 1 second, then lower slowly. Perform 3 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions. You can hold onto a wall or counter for balance if needed. This strengthens your calves, which are crucial for walking in balance. Exercise 4. Sit to stand. From a seated position in a sturdy chair, stand up without using your hands if possible, then sit back down slowly and controlled. Perform 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. This directly translates to functional strength for daily activities. Perform this routine 2 to 3 times per week with at least 1 day of rest between sessions. Your muscles need recovery time to adapt and grow stronger. As you get stronger, increase the difficulty by adding repetitions, slowing down the movement, or adding light resistance like holding dumbbells or wearing a weighted vest. The key principle is progressive overload, gradually increasing the challenge over time. This signals your body that it needs to maintain and build muscle. If you're new to resistance training or have concerns about safety, I strongly recommend working with a physical therapist or qualified trainer for at least a few sessions to ensure you're using proper form and appropriate intensity. Now let me address some common questions and concerns. Question 1. I'm not hungry first thing in the morning. How can I eat this much food? This is very common, especially if you're used to skipping breakfast or eating very little. Your appetite in the morning is largely habitual and will adapt. Start by eating what you can, even if it's just half of the recommended amount, and gradually increase over 2 to 3 weeks. Also consider that lack of morning appetite is often due to eating too much too late at night. If you shift your dinner earlier and make it lighter, you'll naturally be hungrier in the morning. Question 2. Won't eating this much protein and fat for breakfast make me gain weight? Not if you adjust your intake for the rest of the day. You're not adding 475 to 520 calories on top of what you're already eating. You're restructuring when and what you eat. Many people find that this satisfying breakfast actually reduces overall calorie intake because they're less hungry throughout the day and don't snack as much. Additionally, high-protein meals increase metabolic rates slightly and improve body composition by building muscle while reducing fat. Multiple studies show that higher protein intake, particularly at breakfast, supports fat loss while maintaining or increasing muscle mass. Question 3. I have kidney disease. Is this much protein safe? This is an important question that requires individual medical guidance. For people with existing kidney disease, particularly advanced kidney disease, high protein intake may need to be limited. However, for people with healthy kidneys, protein intake in the range I'm recommending, which is roughly 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight daily distributed across meals, is safe and appropriate. If you have any kidney concerns, discuss your specific situation with your doctor before increasing protein intake significantly. Question 4. Can I use plant-based proteins instead of animal proteins? Yes, but it's more challenging to get adequate leucine and complete amino acid profiles from plant sources alone. If you prefer plant-based eating, you'll need to be more strategic. Good plant-based options include tofu, tempeh, edamame, hemp seeds, and high-quality pea protein or rice protein powders. You'll likely need to consume slightly more total protein from plant sources, closer to 45 to 50 grams at breakfast, to achieve the same muscle protein synthesis response because plant proteins are generally less rich in leucine and may not be as completely digested. Combining different plant protein sources in one meal, such as beans and rice or hummus and whole grain pita, provides complementary amino acids. It's definitely possible to combat sarcopenia on a plant-based diet, but it requires more careful planning. Question 5. What about people with diabetes or blood sugar concerns? This breakfast formula is actually excellent for blood sugar control. The high protein content moderates blood sugar response to the carbohydrates in the meal. The healthy fats further slow digestion and stabilize blood sugar. And the nutrient-dense, fiber-rich carbohydrate sources have much less impact on blood sugar than typical breakfast foods like juice, pastries, or sweetened cereals. Many of my diabetic patients find that eating this way dramatically improves their blood sugar control throughout the entire day, not just at breakfast. Always monitor your blood sugar if you're diabetic, especially when making dietary changes, but most people find this approach very beneficial. Question 6. This seems expensive, particularly options with salmon. Can I do this on a budget? Absolutely. Eggs are one of the most affordable, high-quality proteins available, typically less than $3 per dozen. 3 eggs plus 3 egg whites costs about 75 cents. Greek yogurt, particularly store brands, is very affordable. A large container providing multiple servings typically costs $4 to $6. Whey protein powder seems expensive up front, but breaks down to about $1 per serving, which is quite reasonable for 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein. Cottage cheese is very affordable, usually $2 to $4 for a large container. The most budget-friendly options are eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and a basic whey protein powder. You can absolutely implement this approach for $2 to $3 per breakfast, which is less than most people spend on coffee and a pastry. Question 7. How long do I need to eat this way? This isn't a temporary diet, it's an eating pattern that supports muscle health throughout your later decades. The question isn't how long do you need to do this, but rather, how long do you want to maintain your strength, mobility, and independence? Sarcopenia is a chronic condition that requires ongoing nutritional intervention. If you eat this way consistently for 3 months, see significant improvements, then return to your old habits, you'll gradually lose those gains. This needs to become your new normal, your standard way of starting each day. The good news is that once you experience how much better you feel and function eating this way, most people have no desire to go back. Now let me bring this together with some final practical guidance. Start tomorrow morning with whichever breakfast option appeals most to you. If you're not sure, I'd suggest starting with the egg scramble because it's straightforward, affordable, and most people enjoy it. Prepare everything you need the night before. If you're making the scramble, chop your vegetables and store them in the fridge. If you're making the yogurt bowl, portion out your ingredients. If you're making a smoothie, pre-portion your protein powder, nut butter, and other ingredients so you just add liquid and blend. Eat within 1 hour of waking. The earlier you provide this protein stimulus, the better. If possible, engage in some light physical activity within 2 to 3 hours of breakfast, even if it's just a 10-minute walk. This enhances the muscle protein synthesis response. On strength training days, ideally do your resistance workout within 2 to 4 hours of this breakfast when your muscles are well fueled. Track your progress objectively, not just by how you feel. Measure your grip strength with a simple hand dynamometer available online for $20 to $30. Time how long it takes you to walk 50 feet at your normal pace. Count how many times you can stand up and sit down from a chair in 30 seconds. Test these every 2 to 4 weeks and you'll see measurable improvements. Be consistent for at least 1 month before evaluating results. 1 or 2 breakfasts won't transform anything. 30 consecutive days of optimal nutrition will produce changes you can measure and feel. And finally, consider working with a healthcare provider or registered dietitian who can personalize this approach for your specific needs, health conditions, and goals. Before we wrap up, I want to come back to Harold's story because it illustrates something crucial. When I last saw Harold about 18 months after he started this approach, he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Dr. Whittaker, I thought my active life was over. I'd accepted that I was going to keep getting weaker until I couldn't live independently anymore. I was preparing myself mentally for losing everything that made life worth living. Changing my breakfast and starting simple strength training gave me back not just my physical strength, but my confidence, my independence, and my future. I'm doing things now at 75 that I couldn't do at 73. That's what optimal nutrition combined with appropriate exercise can do. It's not magic, it's not a miracle cure. It's simply giving your body what it needs to maintain the strength and function you deserve to have throughout your life." Let me summarize the key points. Sarcopenia is age-related muscle loss that dramatically impacts quality of life, but it's not inevitable and can be reversed with proper nutrition and exercise. Breakfast is a critical opportunity to stimulate muscle protein synthesis that many people waste by skipping it or eating inadequate protein. You need 35 to 40 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast to maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis in older adults. The optimal breakfast includes high-quality protein, healthy fats, and nutrient-dense carbohydrates in the ratios I've outlined. Three practical breakfast options are the veggie and egg scramble with salmon, the Greek yogurt power bowl, and the muscle-building smoothie, all providing optimal nutrition for muscle health. Resistance training, particularly leg-focused exercises 2 to 3 times weekly, is essential to complement the nutritional approach. Changes begin within hours at the cellular level, become noticeable within days to weeks, and can be dramatic within 3 months of consistent implementation. This isn't a temporary diet, but a sustainable eating pattern that supports lifelong strength and independence. I want to hear from you in the comments. What's your current breakfast look like? Are you getting anywhere near 35 to 40 grams of protein in the morning? Which breakfast option are you going to try first? What questions do you have? Your engagement helps me create content that serves you better. If you found this information valuable and potentially life-changing, please hit that like button so more seniors can discover this evidence-based approach to maintaining strength and independence. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because next week I'm going to discuss the 5 best leg exercises for people over 60, including proper form and how to progress safely. That video will complement today's discussion perfectly. Check out my playlist on nutrition and strength training for seniors. There are several videos there covering related topics, all approached with the same evidence-based, practical perspective. As always, the information in this video is for educational purposes only and should not replace individualized medical advice from your own healthcare provider. If you have specific health conditions, particularly kidney disease or diabetes, discuss these dietary changes with your doctor. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue exploring practical strategies for maintaining strength, vitality, and independence well into your later decades. Remember, sarcopenia is not your destiny. With the right nutrition and exercise consistently applied, you can maintain and even regain the strength you thought was gone forever. Your most active, independent, vibrant years can still be ahead of you. Take care.